Yes, I'm discussing with Patience Enakele, a postgraduate student of the Institute of Peace and Strategic Studies, University of Ibadan. Despite the problems we read about, you still see young Nigerians taking the risk, hitting the desert, trying to fly through the Mediterranean Sea.
Where you want to ask what's the reason. Because if you look at an American, for example, he or she will not want to take the Mediterranean to come to Nigeria. So it means something is wrong. It means something is wrong with our system. It means something is wrong with our institutions. It means something is wrong with our organization. And it means something is wrong with ourselves as citizens of Nigeria. And not just Nigeria, Africa in general. So
we continue to give poverty as one of the reasons why these irregular migrations continue to take place. But there's also the question of the West not allowing Africans into their system.
Poverty, yes. Poverty is a major reason for migration. And I went to the field 2 weeks ago. What I discovered was alarming. Actually saw that beyond poverty, there's this level of education. I think education plays a role in irregular migration, because I interviewed like 120 to 140 persons, and I discovered that about 99 of them had just secondary school education. So I can categorically tell you from what I got from the field that their level of education is playing a role in their decision to migrate without proper documentation. However, I feel that border security, border manning is also a major issue, because you cannot cross the border if you're not allowed to, if there are hindrances at the border to deter you from going. So it goes beyond, yes, people wanting to leave because they want to leave. I think the situation back home, it's not really encouraging. Take, for instance, I'm an entrepreneur, for example. I'm into hair making, I'm into barbing. When there's no light, how do I do my business?
Okay.
And the cost of living in Nigeria, it's going higher and higher every day. We're still battling with 30,000 minimum wage, for example. What would 30,000 naira do for you as a human in a month? So these are issues that needs to be addressed.
But the European nations, can they do better by giving us visas to come to their countries? Why are they blocking the road for us? We need to come enjoy their resources too.
Well, you need to ask yourself, if as a man, for example, you have a family and suddenly you have 20 to 30 persons coming to join you, will your resources be able to cater for them?
But again, remember, this is the era of globalization. Europe was built with the resources from Africa. There's that argument too.
That's an argument.
Yes, so therefore, we have the right to go enjoy it. So they should give us visas.
When you say resources from Africa, I need you to explain what you mean by resources from Africa.
We know the transatlantic slave trade. We know colonialism. We know those who extract our resources. We know why there is war in the Congo. And if there is war in the Congo, you should expect that people will migrate to where there is peace. So why not allow them in and regulate them?
Allow them in. I think it's very, very theoretical.
Okay.
For you to say allow them in. How do you allow people in when they don't even have the proper documentation to come in?
That's what I'm saying.
And
give them the documentation.
Give them visas. How many do you want to give visas to? Because I know for every year there is a quota of admittance in most of these countries. And when you now see people moving irregularly, you now start asking yourself, can I cater for these people? How do you give visas to people your economy cannot cater for? How do you give visas to people that you don't have a job for?
So the bottom line is that African countries must sit in and ask themselves, what do we do?
What do we do? Why are my people leaving? For example, I read the other time that over 2,000 Nigerian doctors were leaving. And don't forget, I also listened to the Minister for Health saying that doctors should go into farming. It was it was alarming to me, because I can't believe, for someone who has been through school, a professor at that, saying young doctors should go into farming. I think there's something definitely wrong. And if we don't sit back at home, if we don't re-strategize, we're going to have these issues. It's going to be a recurrent issues. You cannot blame the Western world for saying that we do not want migrants. They do not need migrants. They've been able to put their house in order. They've been able to develop their economy. Why can't we develop our economy? If you look at Nigeria, go to the website of Ministry of Solid Mineral, for example, you see that we have so many untapped resources in Nigeria. Why are we not doing something about it? Why do we have zinc, serenum, and the rest of them, and nothing is being done? Why can't we invite investors into the country to help? If we know we're not capable, if we need hands, why can't we invite people who are capable to help us? Why should we do trader money when we have other things to use money for? Why should we distribute money to people? I, for once, do not believe in a welfarist state. I believe that the government should create an enabling environment for everyone to strive. If the environment is good, I do not think any migrant will want to go through that dangerous sea route.
Before we round off, let's look at ladies undertaking this journey. Does it break your heart? Because you know what they go through.
In November 2017, there was an issue of 26 Nigerian ladies dying in the sea. And for me, it was really, really disheartening, considering the fact that, one, I'm a lady, and two, I have sisters and I have cousins too. I looked at it and I said to myself, why will a lady want to go through that route? If you must migrate legally. Because beyond migration, there are a lot of issues to it.
Yeah.
If you migrate without proper documentation, you're just like a child who left the house without the knowledge of anybody. So anything can happen to you. And when you now see young ladies embarking on this journey, you begin to ask yourself, what kind of homes are they from? You begin to ask yourself, what's the situation at home? You begin to ask yourself, where are their parents? Where are their brothers? Where are their relatives? And I also noticed that a lot of these ladies are being trafficked. They are being trafficked. They are being smuggled. So many of them are not even told what they are going there to do. They only get them to discover that this is what I'm being told to do. I'm being taken into prostitution. I'm being asked. I'm being exploited. So I feel that we need to do a massive campaign, a massive campaign. We need to bring in some of these returnees to help us talk about irregular migration, to help us talk about traveling without documentation. Because the best form of teaching is through experience. And I believe that these people are the only ones who can actually tell us what is at stake.
You're already researching in the area.
Yes.
So we look up to young Nigerians like you to drive this initiative.
We're trying our best, and I think doing research in Nigeria, the major problem is gathering data. For example, I was in Abuja for 4 months trying to gather my data, and at the end of the day, they kept on telling me, go back, come back, go back, come back. I think for us to find solutions to so many of our problems, we need data to work with. If we don't have data, we cannot do anything. So the government should try and help us. A policy can be made to that effect.
But I look forward to a day when young women like you will take over leadership. Do you have that dream?
Well, I already started, yeah. I believe that someday the women can actually take over leadership. If we can manage our homes, we can manage this country. That's what I believe in.
Patience Enakele, thank you for featuring on State Affairs.
Thank you so much for having me here.
Patience is a postgraduate student of the Institute of Peace and Strategic Studies, University of Ibadan. The program is State Affairs. I'll be back after this break, so don't go away.